Welcome all the viewers to the public lecture on the future of museums, recover and reimagine as part of the International Museum Day 2021 suggested by the International Council of Museums. Every year since 1977, the International Council of Museums has organized International Museum Day, which represents a unique moment for international museum community. The objective of International Museum Day is to raise awareness on the fact that museums are an important means of cultural exchange, enrichment of cultures and development of mutual understanding, cooperation and peace among peoples. The theme of the International Museum Day 2021 is the future of museums, recover and reimagine. COVID being pandemic has affected all aspects of museums all over the world. A study by the ICOM about an year ago titled Museums Around the World in the Face of COVID-19 mentioned that about 90% of museums have closed down during the crisis and predicted that more than 10% might never open at all. Most museums have closed down, leading to low or no revenue. This has resulted in deferred promotional avenues, lesser opportunities for job, and even loss of jobs, especially to outsource HR. In this grave situation, it is worth to discuss whether museums can survive or not. The International Council of Museums, that is ICOM, has suggested a few points in this direction. For the current International Museum Day, it has suggested the theme of recover and reimagine, primarily to draw attention to the fact that even though museums are facing the problem of extinction, it can still survive by recovering from the danger situation and then face the challenge of future by reimagining measures. As part of the recovery plan, it will be useful to learn from our past experience of disasters in museums, say on account of natural causes such as earthquake or human-induced such as fire, or both like the flood which has affected museums in the Museums Heritage Project areas in Kerala. These have resulted in a few positive steps which can be called as preparedness, and these include disaster management programs in museums as per the directives of the Ministry of Culture and Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change. Then digital preparedness of the major museums under the Ministry of Culture, such as National Digital Repository, virtual museums, etc. and the Kerala Heritage Rescue Initiative, in which international organizations such as ICOMOS and ICROM were involved. For the purpose of long-term reimagine measures, the ICOM has suggested two aspects for the current International Museum Day. These are objectives as well as focus sub-themes. The International Museum Day objectives for the current year include three items which are meant to reiterate the importance of museums in the society, such as museums are key drivers of recovery, museums are socially relevant institutions serving the community, and museums are agencies to implement UN Sustainable Development Goals. This year, ICOM has selected 4 SDGs, such as SDG number 4, 8, 11, and 13. The focus themes for the current International Museum Day includes 3 major points like digitization for education, social relevance and sustainability, and new business models. Regarding the first one, digital technologies offer countless opportunities to interact and engage with our publics, and collaborations between the worlds of cultures and education can bring benefits to both, stimulating, among other things, critical thinking, active citizenship, and well-being. Regarding the second, social relevance, the post-COVID era will ask museums to focus more on their local communities, developing projects in collaboration with them. Museums must embrace the fundamental role as open, inclusive, democratic spaces for sharing and development. Regarding the last, the new business models, the cultural sector has been one of the most affected by the global pandemic, but it also brought forward changes and innovation. This moment calls for new approaches to cultural experience, new ways of fruition, new ways of partnerships, new skills, and new business models. Now, let us come to the two major aspects of the strategy for Reimagine, as suggested by a majority of studies on COVID. The first one is digitization, and the second one is resilience. An international publication called Museum Features Corona Conundrum, written by George Jacob, an Indian-born CEO of Bay Equatorium in San Francisco, USA, points out a few major aspects of museums in the COVID period, out of which two stand out. These are shift to virtual realm and screenagers. George has suggested a new terminology called screenagers. Let me quote: with social distancing, museums will experience thinning of visitors. While some are shifting the focus to online learning modules, virtual classrooms, gallery visits, and live camps, others are exploring touch points of monetization, cyber curation, and artificial intelligence induced experiences, transcending the conventional boundaries in synchrony with the generation alpha, that is the screenagers. The screenagers have not experienced a world without mobile screens. The term screenagers here is important to depict the scenario of the youth at the present stage. Regarding digitization, it may be mentioned here that the Ministry of Culture, Government of India, with the help of CDAC and Art Institute of Chicago, USA, had taken early lead in this direction by launching the National Digital Repository and virtual museums. The digital collections created using the software Jatan Virtual Museum Builder is integrated in the National Digital Repository for giving public access through the national portal. In the first phase of the digitization project, the Jatan software has been implemented in about 10 selected museums of the Ministry of Culture, which includes the Indian Museum as well. Now we will come to the second major aspects of Reimagine, that is resilience. I will be quoting three examples, two from international scene and one from India. The international examples are from UNESCO as well as ICOM, and the Indian one is based on Kerala Heritage Rescue Initiative. Regarding the UNESCO, I may mention that UNESCO has launched a global movement called Resilient Art, that call it Resili Art, in partnership with the International Confederation of Societies of Authors and Composers on 15th April 2020 on the World Art Day, in order to raise awareness about the impact of COVID-19 on the culture sector and the livelihoods of cultural professionals, to give visibility to artists worldwide, and to contribute to decision-making process of member states of UNESCO during the development of policies and financial mechanisms aimed at empowering artists. The ICOM has also highlighted resilience as part of its 8 steps to support community resilience. These 8 steps include: secure your own safety and well-being first, Try to focus on what you are doing best and seek alternate ways of doing it. Monitor developments and changing societal needs. Remember that you are not alone. Keep in close contact with partners, collaborators, and community initiatives. Learn from the past, like the one I mentioned about disasters in different museums in India. Consider the possibility of rapid response collecting and documenting the crisis and its impact, like documentation of the crisis and online exhibitions based on it. Capitalize on these experiences and stay united and help us in an Indian case study called KHRA or Kerala Heritage Rescue Initiative involved international agencies such as the ICOMOS and ICROM. It focused on resilience to heritage, including museums. The 2018 Kerala flood resulted in enormous damage to heritage, including museums. We at the Center for Intangible Studies at the Sree Sankaracharaya University of Sanskrit, Kalady, where currently I am based, was involved along with the state ICOMOS unit for bringing the ICOMOS world as well as ICROM and involved a large number of youth for the purpose of helping out documenting the damage done due to the floods and resulted in a type of heritage rescue initiative. Our work case studies concentrate mainly on three major aspects, like the Musiri Heritage Project Museums in and around Chennamangalam village, then an institution like the University of Sanskrit in Kalady, which has an enormous collection of art and culture, and a craft village in Aramula, a small town near the Shabarimala, which has got international recognition because of the rare Aramula metal mirror. These three case studies, based on these studies, has resulted in a new terminology called Resitage or Resilient Heritage. As mentioned in the previous slide, the KHRI involved three major focus points in Kerala, the middle part of Kerala, like the museums under the Musri's heritage project areas in Chandamangalam village area, then institution like the University of Kalady, where the departments of fine arts and so many other related departments are working with very good collections, and the craft village Aramula, where unique craft items like the Palliodams and the metal mirror mugs are made. This has resulted in a new terminology called Resitage. Basically, Resitage, short form for Resilient Heritage. As mentioned in my earlier slide, Resitage, which is short form for Resilient Heritage, was presented at a webinar of the National Committee on ICH of the ICOMOS held on the 31st October 2020, that is last year. Resitage involves three P's, that's people, purpose and process. Both are involved as the three pillars of resilient heritage. As a conclusion, I will suggest that we at the latest stage of the new museology movement in the country, with a new model on museums, can survive the problems of the COVID-19 and reimagine to survive and flourish for future. Based on my previous slides, I define a museum as part of the new model on museums as a museum is more of a heritage institution with tangible collections which are communicated through exhibition and interpreted through education to all, including persons with disabilities, as intangible heritage, utilizing all possible digital platforms. The post-COVID museums rely more on resilience for all the stakeholders, say museum objects, museum people, and museum visitors. That is the community, etc. This is all I can brief you on the occasion of the International Museum Day. Jai Hind.